What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. That's right, it's the only sports podcast. I'm Will, and we are just doing an emergency solo show. I don't know if Casino will join us. We'll be back tomorrow with the regularly scheduled only sports podcast. This is just going to be an emergency one that is just going to be released in the on YouTube. So I might tack this on to the end of tomorrow's episode just so the podcast listeners can hear about it. But this is just going on YouTube tonight. So I'm Will. There's my Twitter handle, but this is the only sports podcast. You know that. So yeah, we're here to talk about there's no other way to say it. An embarrassing, like, look in the mirror afterwards and be like, why am I a fan? Why do I like sports? Why do I watch sports? Why do I put myself through this every year? This is one of those, and this is not just an Eagles take. This is just football, sports, anything in general. This is one of those ones where you're like, why am I a fan? Right? Like, this is one of those soul crushing, why am I a fan of anything things, right? So let's just get down to it. The Eagles lose 22-21 after just the most bonehead clock management you'll ever see in your life. One of the dumbest throws you're ever going to see in your life. I literally, during this game, again, I'm an Eagles fan. So the whole game, I was like, wow, Jalen Hurts looks great this game. He's making all the right decisions, being careful with the ball. He had 84 carries on 84 yards on 13 carries. I was like, Saquon's looking great. 22 carries, 95 yards. He also had 4 receptions, 21 yards. Hurts had the tush push touchdown, had a great touchdown pass in between 3 defenders that didn't have a chance at it to go to Devontae Smith. So AJ Brown was out of this game. So it was like, oh, we're going to sneak away with this victory against a good Falcons team that has a potentially great Falcons defense. I was actually really impressed with the Falcons defense last week and this week. I know I said when we were talking about the teams, when we were doing the run through for all the episodes before the season, I said Falcons would probably finish with a top 5 defense. Their defense last year was great, got a defensive head coach. So I knew the Falcons defense would be great, right? And for most of the game, the Eagles just did what I always love the Eagles to do, which is really long, sustaining drives that burn off 10 minutes of the clock. And then they just run the ball down your throat, get 5, 8, 10 yards per play, and then just kind of slowly and methodically work their way down the field. And they did that this entire game. I really have no issues with the Eagles offense. I think you insert AJ Brown back into this offense. Do they win this game? Possibly. Do they put up more points? Possibly. But again, I know this Falcons defense is great. But then you look at this Eagles defense, really shaky in the Packers game. But again, as an Eagles fan, I try to push that off to the side and go, maybe it was just Brazil, the shitty field, like blah, 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 blah. Packers have a high firing offense, blah, 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 blah. Right. But then you look at this game and it's like you're at home. Kirk Cousins there. I mean, the Falcons just went on every 4th down and mostly got every single one of them. Like, even on that, and then at the drive at the end, you've basically contained Kirk Cousins the entire game. And then he finishes the game with 20 of 29, 241, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The 241, 80 plus yards of that was on the final 30 or 40 seconds of the game. He just goes giant play or 10-yard gain, giant play, touchdown. Like, it was just 4 plays again. Vic Fangio, last year, the Eagles for an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator had literal hobos, right? Like, in charge of both those units. Literally 2 guys who, after they were fired after this season, I don't know where they went. There was no news they got hired by other teams. They might both be working at the local Philly cheesesteak establishment, right? Who knows where those two guys went? So my whole thing going into this Eagles season was they now have two grown-up professionals as the coordinators, right? Vic Fangio, long respected defensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, long respected offensive coordinator. Again, was the offense lights out this game? No, but I also think that's because the Falcons defense is so good. And I really have no issues with the Eagles offense in this game, besides a couple plays here and there. The Barkley play at the end where it was third down, and if they would have got the first down, they would have won the game. I don't have a problem with that call. The play was there. It just goes off Barkley's fingertips, right? So, I mean, it didn't even hit his fingertips. It hit him right in the hands. He drops it, whatever. What I then have an issue with is you kick a field goal, you're only up by 6. So regardless, they beat you with a touchdown, right? So they beat you with a field goal as well, or do they? Let me quickly do the math here. So 21 minus 3, and then it was 15, right? The Vikings had 15. So then they beat you with a touchdown. It's overtime with a field goal. So why are you not going for it on 4th and 3 and then making Kirk Cousins try to beat you from his own end zone, right? Like if you kick the field goal and it's a 7-point game, then okay, you kick the field goal, it's still a touchdown beats you. So again, this defense is the most quarterback friendly defense in the league because there's no pressure on the quarterback. Vic Fangio refuses the blitz, and this Eagles D line is decimated from, I don't know, just letting good players go. Like again, as an Eagles fan, I hate when people say that, but lifelong Eagles fan. So we bring in Huff, right? Who in this game, let me even see if I can find him on defense because I don't remember his name being called much, if at all, except for the announcers being like, well, they Huff, the new addition. Where is Huff? Huff. Oh, funny. He's not anywhere on the actual defensive stats for this game. So then you have, again, you lose Hassan Reddick, by far your best pass rusher. You bring in Huff from the Jets, right? You bring in Bryce Huff, and so far in 2 games this season, he has, and let me pull it up for you. He has, uh, ugh, I hate trying to look for stats on team websites, but we'll power through right here. So we have Huff, who, okay, I can't even find. Ugh, frustrating it again. Nothing prepared, just literally came on just a rant about this thing. So Huff so far, 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. Oh, I'm sorry. He has 1 total touchdown or 1 total tackle, 1 assisted tackle in 2 games. This was supposed to be your big addition to make up for Hassan Reddick, who left went to go to the same team you took Bryce Huff from. So why, if you're Vic Fangio, do you think you have a pass rush when you're only putting on 4 guys who are not? It's the Kirk Cousins could do whatever he wanted tonight because every single play of this Eagles defense versus Falcons offense was literally just 5 Falcons offensive players on the offensive line blocking 4 Eagles defensive players. So they played a 4-3 the entire night, didn't send hardly any rushes with any DBs, any safeties, any linebackers. And then Kirk Cousins, again, not even methodically. Like it was within minutes, just up, 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 guys open, no pressure whatsoever, no pressure in my face. Like as if the blueprint in the NFL isn't great D line, great offensive line, and then just give your quarterback time and don't let the other quarterback get time. Huh? Who does that? Oh, I don't know. The Chiefs, the Eagles when they won it in the Super Bowl, the Rams the year they won it. Like every game comes down to who's in the trenches on both sides of it. And then everybody knows that. That's why left tackles are paid so well. That's why rushing defensive linemen and linebackers are played so well, but yet every team just tries to think they're smarter than the clear blueprint, which is just protect your quarterback, give him time, and then rush the opposing quarterback. Literally, that's it. But with the Eagles, they're like, nah, we're just gonna. I mean, Hurts was running for his life tonight, so but luckily those were his best plays when he was buying time in the backfield, and then every run he had tonight was like a smart run until again final play of the game where the Eagles all they need is a field goal to win. Throw it out of bounds, you have another timeout in 40 seconds. No, I'll just get hit for maybe the first time tonight and just throw up a basically Hail Mary to the sidelines where it's just hanging in the air like a lame duck, just waiting for and literally before that play, I was like, this is going to be an interception, isn't it? I literally said that in my brain. So you can blame me for jinxing the Eagles. I also was texting Casino yesterday and literally said, and I will read this message I sent to him literally word for word. I said yesterday at 12:53. I said Cowboys lose, Niners lose, Lions lose. The Eagles are going to fucking lose Monday night. Every single time this fucking happens when the top NFC contenders all lose and the Eagles can be a game up over literally all their competition, they lose. So bet your kids' college funds on the Falcons Monday night. It's again, this is the pain of being a sports fan. This is the pain of knowing your team, of watching your team play football, where it's just that thing of like, I knew it was going to happen. Was I excited for this game? Of course. When that Saquon Barkley pass dropped and then I saw them kicking for a field goal, in my head I went, this is not the right move. Why are we doing this? You're 4th and 3. You've been getting 5 yards every play you've done this drive. Even again, run a quarterback sneak, run a tush push, run an option play, do a run play, just get chunk yards. So when it's 4th and 1, why are you not running Saquon Barkley? Again, I don't have problems with that play, but again, 3rd and 3, why are you not running Saquon up the middle or Hurts up the middle, getting a 1 or a 2 yards out, doing the tush push, and then going on to next week with a victory. Now the Eagles go play New Orleans, who looks like the best team in the league. So this is going to be a 1-2 Eagles team with all question marks being around the defense and about Jalen Hurts taking care of the ball. Rightfully so. I picked this Eagles team to go to the Super Bowl. I think a lot of people did. Now it's like Lions are falling apart. Rams aren't a contender, right? Because everybody on their team's getting injured. Eagles play like this, still have just the dumbest decisions in play calling you'll ever see. I don't know I thought their defense would improve. It hasn't, right? So then the Cowboys get wiped off the floor with the Saints. I'm sure the Saints will do something similar to the Eagles next week. So really, we're supposed to, the thing to stop the Chiefs from three-peating is supposed to be Derek Carr or Baker Mayfield. Like it's going to be a Saints Bucks Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Cause I mean, you also can look at the AFC and be like, Bengals are bad. Steelers are 2-0. Who knows if they have any offense whatsoever? What is it? The Bengals are 0-2. The Ravens are 0-2. They've both already lost to the Chiefs. We know what happens when the Bills play the Chiefs. So it's literally like the 4 contenders coming out of this week are Saints, Bucks, Chiefs, Bills. That's just going to be a Super Bowl matchup. One of those combination of 4, probably Chiefs versus Saints at this point. I mean, if we're making our week 2 picks, but I know it's only week 2, but these are the kind of losses and the kinds of decision making that just have never ending repercussions for the rest of the season. Example, the last season of Eagles football where they're losing the dumbest games ever on Monday Night Football to Drew Lock. I literally said on whatever post, follow me on Twitter or X or whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays. But I literally said this is the most embarrassing the loss the Eagles have had since like 10 of their games last season. Right? So different team, better coaches, same result. Right? I love I love Kellen Moore's like schemes and how he sets up things, and the offense for the past 2 weeks has been really fantastic. I think it's really great. Hurts has not been great. Hurts had a rough first game, but again, I'm willing to push aside that to just be like, it was weird circumstances, Friday night field, blah, 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 blah. But game 2 was the one you're at home. This is supposed to, Nick Foles' retirement thing. It's a big thing. Jason Kelsey's there, blah, blah, blah. You play a great 59 minutes in this game, and then the last 1 minute, you decide to do all the dumb shit everybody accuses you of being, which is careless with the football. And, we'll be back. Me and Casino will be here tomorrow on the Only Sports Podcast, where I will rant and rave more about this. We'll talk about the rest of the games with him, and then we will make the picks for week 3 on Thursday. So this has been the Only Sports Podcast with just Will, depressed, sad, defeated, angry, embarrassed, not surprised, I think is the most obvious one. Like when that happened, I literally was just like, yeah, of course. This is what being a football fan of the Eagles is. They had 1 year where they won the Super Bowl. The 2 years where they lost the Super Bowls were 2 of the worst days of my life, right? And then the rest of the time, it's just some combination of this. They win some heart-wrenching games where you're sweating your balls off to the last second, and then they lose games like this where you think they have the victory and then they do something stupid and cost themselves the victory at the end. That's the only 2 Eagles games they have. Can we have one game where they win 33 to 7 and it's like over in the third quarter and you're just like, this is nice. But every Eagles get like the Eagles are the opposite of the Chiefs. The Chiefs get every break and just win those nail biters always at the end by like something dumb. And you're just like, if you're a Chiefs fan, you must just always be having a heart attack, but always know deep down, like they'll get away with it. They'll win this one. Who cares? As an Eagles fan, it's the exact opposite. You're having a heart, you're fine for most of the game, and you're like, Eagles look great. They're going to win this game. They've controlled everything, blah, blah, blah. Defense looks rough, but their offense right on track. They're having their way with this really good Falcons defense. And then at the end, you're just like, I mean, I guess they could lose this, but how? It would have to be something really dumb. And then Drew Lock leads a 15-minute just masterclass in quarterbacking down the field and beat you in OT. Or then it's like, well, the Eagles have owned Kirk Cousins, right? He used to give him fits when he was in the Redskins, but when he's on the Vikings, they owned him, especially on primetime Kirk and all that kind of stuff. Now, he's just going to come out and just go 70 yards in 30 seconds, get a touchdown, no issue. So Eagles players and Eagles fans, just enjoy your week of just being shit on, rightfully so. I mean, again, if they would have lost this game in a blowout, it would have I would rather my team get blown out. Like if you're the Cowboys, you're like, just not our day, right? Saints blow us out. Who cares? We'll maybe see them in the playoffs. It'll be different. Eagles, it's just like, oh yeah, we were the better team tonight. We played better. And then we just decided, we don't want it, right? We're just giving it up. All right. This has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. We'll see you tomorrow for a full show. Adios.